Hey guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today I'm reviewing Raymond Ray, now streaming on Apple TV+. So Raymond Ray is a new dramedy that has come out on Apple TV+, and it stars Ethan Hawke and Ewan McGregor as two somewhat estranged brothers that are coming together after the death of their abusive father, and they're coming back to the town that he lived in to try and bury him, try and fulfill his last wishes. The one thing that had me really interested in this movie in particular is that it was shot all around where I live. I'm from the Richmond, Virginia area, and it was all filmed in all the suburbs, very close to where I work. It was like really cool to see some of those sites, but there were some things that were really lacking in this film, in my opinion. Now, it's always hard to do this blend of drama and comedy while keeping it hard-hitting, but still having some fun, lighthearted moments. And I think the blend in particular in this film fell a little bit flat. The comedic moments, some were a little bit funny, but I felt like it was more awkward than anything. It felt like it was a little bit clunky trying to interject these tone shifts into a pretty serious story about abuse and about trauma and about overcoming some of your own personal issues and grief and guilt. So I feel like it almost should have just stuck with the drama aspects of it. I will say I think the performances were really good. I do think that Ethan Hawke and Ewan McGregor were great when they were on scene. They had great chemistry together, and I think they're kind of the thing that saves the movie. I think without them, this movie would have been a really difficult film to watch. It isn't the most particularly exciting or uplifting film. It is very slow. A lot of it is very dialogue heavy. And like I said, there's some weird tone shifts. So some of the dialogue, in my opinion, comes off a little bit clunky, but it is delivered well by the actors. And I think they elevate the script. And I think their chemistry in particular is something that would make the movie worth watching. The cinematography is also pretty solid in this film because it captures the melancholy and the sadness and the kind of gloominess that hangs over this movie, which in a way can make it, like I said, a little bit difficult to watch. It's not a terribly long movie, but it feels pretty long. For me, it was great seeing all the local sites around where I live, so that made it a little bit more enjoyable for me in particular. The score is a little bit strange because it kind of focuses around this jazz sound, and it doesn't always match what's happening on screen, and I know they're probably trying to go for this juxtaposition of like a serious nature with this kind of more lighthearted music, and it just doesn't blend, in my opinion. I do like that it kind of revolves around Ethan Hawke's character because he plays the trumpet. He's someone who is very infused with this idea of jazz and kind of the way it makes him feel in his relationship with his father because of that. But when it's actually executed, and it just seems odd. It felt like I said, this movie just feels like a real mixed bag of what it wanted to do. I do think when it takes itself seriously and it tries to be a story about trauma and about loss, it excels in that. I think when it tries to wade into the comedy aspects, that's where it lost me in particular. Like I said, there were some funny moments, especially seeing someone like their father through the lens of other people. They see him as this horrible, abusive individual, but when you see it through some of his other children, some of his other spouses, it gets everything really muddled, and it goes into the idea of how people perceive other people. And I did think that was an interesting aspect of the story. But again, kind of the comedic element of it took a little bit of that messaging away, at least for me. I would give it a 5 out of 10, right down the middle. I don't think it's a particularly bad movie. I do just think it misses the mark in its tone and its messaging. I think the acting's pretty solid. I like the cinematography. I obviously loved seeing all the local sites where I'm from, but I just felt like it never fully went anywhere. It felt very surface level. It felt very shallow in a story that could have been really compelling and really interesting. Let me know what you thought about it. Maybe you really enjoyed it. Maybe you really took something more away from it than I did. It's always interesting to hear other people's opinions about movies. Leave those comments down below. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you guys next time.